Alright, so we're going on YouTube, and Twitch I think is probably going. Seeing as we have a ad going there. Alright, so hey everyone, this is Will from Productions², and we are here to do some streaming for Odyssian Void. So I did a little bit of work last night and some this morning. I didn't get quite as much done as I wanted to in terms of like getting prepared for this, but we have, we're kind of there, so we'll just have to work through some of the other stuff as we're going on. So let's go ahead and start with this one. So this is a modified project that I downloaded from somebody that had done something or had done something similar to what I want to do for somebody as like an example, and I've gone through and I've modified it to do some things that I want it to do differently, and and to kind of try out different ideas and whatnot. So I'm just going to go and play this real quick. So as you can see, we have a beam emitter that's connecting the game pawn here with this static mesh. Now, what I was hoping to do was to have every one of these spheres having one of the, essentially being a source for one of the blueprints, particle system blueprints that are in this map, but the way that they cycle through the blueprints in the code, in the blueprint editor, means that only one of them will work with what I'm doing. Now, if I switched it back to the other way, which is just going directly from the particle system emitter blueprint to the target. So the particle system emitter blueprint is the source, and then the target as the player. They all fire at the same time. But I want to do this from a static mesh because that's closer to what we're going to be doing in the tech demo. So we have this going. Point of interestingness is that I couldn't get this particle system they have here. I couldn't get it to work by trying to reverse engineer it into my own project for some reason. It just wasn't coming out the same, didn't look the same. So I copied the particle system from this into my test project, and it works that way. But so I'm not sure. There's all kinds of settings and stuff that it's easy to overlook and have it be kind of messed up. So each one of these is a emitter blueprint here. And this project originally, you have to push B to turn them on, and they all zap you. Excuse me. But they don't. It doesn't have awareness of where you're at because it's tied to the. I think it was tied to the player blueprint. So you hit B and it would go. If you moved, you'd have to hit B again for it to re-update. What I did is I stuck it in I took the blueprinting out of it and stuck it into the level blueprint and put it on, or not level blueprint, a new blueprint that I created, a new actor class blueprint, and stuck it in the map, and it does it on tick in that one now. So that's how it follows me around properly. So the idea here is that we want to have each one of these like bumpy things, whatever these things are, on the front here, be a laser, basically a mining laser. That's what they're going to be acting as. And what I want to do is have those specific locations be the sources, and then the target being something else. So the first problem I ran into was trying to, let's make this full screen now, was trying to figure out how to get the emitter into the blueprint for the ship, and being able to attach it to that specific spot. And what I found is that it would be possible to do that. However, because of a bug in Cascade, you can't, for beam emitters, you cannot use you cannot check the use local space, I think is what it's called, checkbox, which would basically means that you could manipulate it in whatever ways you want to for the beam emitter. Now, for my particle that I created, or actually I modified that one that was there, I've actually added in something else to it, which can be moved around, and it makes it look weird because you can move that around, but the beam stays where it's at. So I zoom out and rotate around here, you can kind of see. So, if you remember from the last KSP stream, I had mentioned that how this kind of thing would probably work in the real world is that you would have a colonized energy beam coming from the mining laser that would rip apart the surface of the asteroid. And then as that was happening, there would be some other tractor beam kind of mechanism or something that would pull particles from that ripping process back up the stream into the cargo hold. That's kind of what I'm simulating here with this, is that we have all these little particles that are flowing back up the stream. And that's just kind of like it's my way of graphically representing that kind of concept. Now, of course, these are just like really cheap particles that I create a basic material for, but in the final version of it, it might be actual static meshes or something that I'll create that are like little chunks of rock or something that'll be more detailed. But for now, that'll work. So, now the problem is if I go to, I believe it's on source. No, it's on required. Yeah, use local space. So you see here, you can't check it. Even if you try and check it, and it looks like you're clicking it because the box grays out when you click on it, it's not checking. And that's due to a bug that somebody found that's like related to 2 lines of code that are messed up. But Epic isn't going to fix it because they basically decided to scrap Cascade. They're working on a new particle system called, I want to say Niagara, I think is what it was. That's in beta right now. So yeah, that's not going to get fixed, but that's fine. So what we want to do with this now is that we need to figure out a way to put something in the blueprint that can be targetable, that we can target with the with some code, with some blueprint to be the source for the for the particle system. Now the other question I have with that is that do we have to have an actual particle system in the map somewhere? And if we do, maybe I can put it in the blueprint but have it be hidden somehow. I still need to figure that part out as well, because if we need to have it be part of the blueprint, I mean, when we actually have a laser that's like attached to a ship, the laser itself would be a blueprint, and there would be on that specific laser there would be a particle emitter in that, and that would be where it would come from. But in this, since we don't have that specific thing, although maybe we could create something that would, maybe that's what we do. Maybe the target for the source would be the Fox blueprint for the mining laser, and thus we'd be able to do it that way, and just have the mining laser be in that blueprint, and then not have to shove a bunch of them into the ship blueprint. Maybe that's how we have to do it. First, though, I need to figure out how we can actually get something that will do that, allow that to happen. So, I guess the first thing we need to do is we need to open up this blueprint. And we need to go to viewport. Actually, first we need to create a new blueprint. So we go to content. Let's create a new folder called blueprints. BPs. BOs? No, BPs. Blueprints, not body odors. Then we'll create a new blueprint class. We'll make it an actor. And we're going to call it mining laser BP. So what I'm going to do with this now is I just want to put something in here that can be targetable. or rather, it itself can be targetable, I guess. That's true. But still, we should probably... Well, let's see if that actually does work. Maybe we can just target the blueprint itself. So let's go ahead and... did I minimize or did I close it? Well, if I did minimize it, I'm not allowed to open it, so we'll just do this again. So what I'm hoping I can do is just drop this into here. Okay, cool. We can. I do want to get rid of this particle emitter, though. Alright, so we got this in here. So what I want to do is I want to scale this. And actually, I think we'll do some... Or actually, no, we don't need to scale it, do we? It's, the thing will scale itself based on where we're at. This isn't actually like a mesh or anything, it's just an object. So what we want to do is we want to try and get this. We'll just put one in for now, and then if it works, then we can do more. So I want to kind of put it on the center one here, so we got to kind of get it lined up. And maybe also down inside of it a bit so it looks like it's coming out of that thing. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. So we have our thing here. Mine there's a BP template. Is there like a name field somewhere? Variable name. Mine is VP. We'll just call it _1. Now the question is, do we want to be able to expose it so we can grab it, or do we want to just say do a loop kind of thing? For now, we'll just stick to what I have in the other that I did in the other project because I know that works. Then we can start messing around with stuff. Once we can get something that works. So I'll just do this for now. Save it, compile it. Alright, now what I want to do is I'm going to go back to that mining laser blueprint. Back to the viewport. And I want to stick a particle system in there. Doesn't matter where it is, just as long as it's in here somewhere. Now, as you can see, this doesn't move at all, and that's what I'm talking about. If we could do the use local space, that would also move. Since we can't use it on the beam, it's not going to move. So what I'm going to do with this then is so rendering visible when they completely draw the primitive. If false, does not cast a shadow. So that doesn't hide it. Hidden in game. Well, I guess it doesn't show whether or not it would be showing or not. I guess we could try loading it and see what would happen. Okay, so it isn't rendering, otherwise we'd be able to see it, I think. Which is good. That's what we want. Okay. Assuming that that it updated inside of this blueprint. Inside of the mining laser blueprint, which I'm not sure of, so I guess we can go check that. Or not here, in the flying blueprint. In the ship blueprint. Okay, I can see it there. Kind of glitching out in and out and whatnot. When I move the thing, but it's there, so I did update. Okay, so now that we have that, let's just add a static mesh into the game world here. This will be our target. we'll go ahead and scale this up a bit. Alright, so this will be, so we'll say just, laser target. Actually, let's, can I copy this? Doesn't look like I can. Oh yeah, I can. I'll do a copy of it. I'll make a blueprint for it. Because that's how it's happening over in the other one. So we get an actor. That's not gonna let me paste it. Okay, we'll add a new sphere mesh into here. Alright, compile it, save it. I'll go and delete that, and I'll drop this in. And then call that laser. Oh, it's the wrong one. There we go. That's what I want. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go to this. Just want to move it up a little bit so we're not too low on the thing. Okay, and we're going to call that mining laser target underscore 1. Alright, so now we're going to create another blueprint. Active blueprint. And we're going to call it laser targeting or something. And we're just going to throw it in the map here somewhere. Let's go ahead and open that up. So we're not going to give a crap about that stuff. We're just going to go right over to the event graph. So on tick, we want to use a get all actors of class. So the actor class is going to be, so this is for the target, so mining laser BP. And then we're going to get another get all actors of class. And this one's going to be laser target BP. Now, here's the interesting question. So this is what I ran into before when we do it. When we do two separate loops like this, you only get a one-to-one connection because you're looping through it, and it's the last one. So first we'll set it up this way, then we'll figure out, since we only have one, it doesn't really matter, but once we add more, we'll have to figure out a way to say, okay, this blueprint's already has a target. So it's an interesting question that we have to figure out. Anyway, so I'm gonna go for each loop. So, guess we'll start with this. In the loop body, we have to go to another for each loop. And then that's going to go to this one. Again, it's 1-to-1 right now, so it's not that big a deal. Now we need to do a think that's a get actor location. I think. Let me go check the other project real quick here. Get actor location, yeah. So get actor location. And I believe it's array element. Then we need another one of these. And then we need to call change direction. That's weird. Oh, not that one, this one. Oh, not that one either. Okay. So okay. So mining laser blue B. Okay, so this one. So yeah, so what we need to do then is on our mining laser BP, we need to create a way to reference this emitter, which means we need to make it a variable or something that will hold it. So let's call this P-sys emitter. That's going to be public. Okay, so there's our target. Here's this target, and then here's the source. Rather, this is the source, never mind. And this is the target. So now how this should work is on tick. We get all the mining laser blueprints that exist in the map. And then we go up to this and get all the laser target BPs that exist in the map. again, this is not how we'd set it up. Normally, we'd do some sort of targeting thing where we'd say, okay, this specific actor, this specific laser target BP is what we want. In this case, though, we're just trying to see if we can get it to work similarly to how it's working in the other project. We loop through each one of the mining lasers, and as we're doing that, we get their location and set that as a source, and then we get the PSys emitter from that mining laser, and we set that as a target for this function. In other words, the object that we're changing the source and target locations for. And then once that's done, we loop through each of these, which is the targets, and then so what'll happen is that the last laser and the last target will be the ones that are being used, unless you put a break in like I did on the other project, in which case it's the first ones. That's just how that's a artifact of this sort of system, and we'll have to figure out how to fix that or change it some way to make it work. But first, let's see if this actually does work. So compiled. Okay, I don't see the static mesh. Access none, trying to read property, PSys emitter. Oh, we need to set that first. Right. So, let's go to our laser BP. Now, in the construction script, we want to say set PSys. And then we want to get now we can use this here because there's only one. So first we go to here, we select the class we want, which is the P underscore electricity arc blueprint. Then we do a for each. Since there's only one, it might be a little bit overkill for it, but that's what we want to do on construction. Compile. Okay, so we still, I don't think the static mesh is drawing in. Oh, there it is. So it's not, still not working now. If it was, we'd be able to see the thing shooting off at it. So let's see if there's any errors. So it doesn't look like there's any errors. Let's see, window. Where is the log? There used to be a way to, like, find the log somehow. Well, there weren't any errors, I guess, because there weren't any, we didn't get anything shown up. So the question then is, what's still not working? Let's have a look here, see now. Laser targeting. So on tech, we're getting our mining laser BPs. We're throwing them out to this for loop. Iterating over them. So there's only one right now. Then we're iterating over this for loop. Again, only one. setting the target. And we're getting the emitter variable, setting this as the function, what the function is going to act on. We're setting the location as source. And then for the target, we are setting it as target. And we're getting the location. Okay. Now, maybe it's because the it's because we hid this. We said visible, so we took off the visible. Let's compile this again. Save it. Aha, there we go. So as you can see, though, it's kind of, you know, it's not quite working the way that it should be. We got the particle stream is not going along the correct vector. It's not going along the beam emitter. And the beam emitter is kind of really slow to update. Alright, space. Okay, so that speeds up. I'm trying to remember the controls for this thing. Yeah, control slows down. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Actually, those other things, they might be some of the parts of the emitter or something. Actual parts of the particle system. I'm not sure. What I need to get a static, something that, well, because this is always moving, I need to make it so it doesn't move. Maybe if we just restart, or does it move? It moves automatically, doesn't it? Yeah. So, well, still, that's kind of confirms that the issue was that we were hiding it. We still have this issue about this thing going straight across instead of, so maybe what we need to do is turn off local space. Because the beam local space doesn't work. Or yeah, it's not checked and it's working, so I think we need to kill the use local space here. Well, it's not going sideways across the screen anymore, but I think because it's or no, it's still there. You can see the light, the kind of glow. When I turn this way, you can kind of see it in front of the ship there. So it's still showing up like that, centered on the ship. I'm trying to figure out is where the particle stream is. Okay, there they are. So because it's updating so much, and they're kind of just floating around too. Once we get them to spawn, they just kind of float around where they're at. So what we need to have happen is we need to have it be like a constant stream instead of like rendering like this. As we wanted to update its position, but we don't want it to restart. Again, this might all be solved when we get Niagara or whatever it is, when it gets finally released. So that seems to be an issue with the... Well, I mean, we can't really stop, is the problem with this. We can probably change the setting somewhere to make it so we could actually stop dead on this, wherever we're at. Let's see if we can do that. Where would that be underneath? That would probably be underneath maybe game settings. Maybe not. It might be underneath the... here we go. So, petrol, yaw, blah, blah, blah. Event tick, move, current move speed is 500. So what is this? This is a default value. So I'm guessing this is like a static value. You're always going at least 500, whatever that is. Let me set that to 0. Now we're still moving forward. Set forward value and apply thrust. Acceleration. Min speed. I heard it. Min speed. Maybe that's what we want. Max speed 4,000. Ah, there we go. Okay, no, yeah, so that's still going across the side there. Nice. So you can kind of see it. This is kind of like how I want it to go. We don't really, well, there's a little bit of like a noise thing in there because I want it to be like not so static, but maybe we want it to be a little less noisy. So when it shifts around, it kind of does weird things because of that noise in there. I don't think these particles are going to work either. Kind of flying all over the place now. Oh yeah, it broke acceleration. Nice. Because the acceleration is 500 per tick, I guess. And since we set it to 0, that means there is no more acceleration. So let's change that back to 500. Well, it's still not working. So what else did I... Let's go ahead and fix the other things that changed. Current forward speed. So it looks like once we're at 0, you can't go anymore. Is that it? I don't know, it just stops. That's interesting. Well, I don't know what I did to break it, but that's fine, I guess. Anyway, so we kind of got doing what we wanted to do. Now what we need to do is to figure out some of the other things. First of all, we need to... We'll leave it the way it is right now. But what we'll do is we won't have it on tick in it. Well... That's a good question. So so maybe we can say is that as long as you're that mining lasers have to be used while you're stationary. You can't use them while you're moving around. We'll make that kind of a condition or something, at least for now. So let's see. So first and foremost, we want to... Well, we need to do a few things. We're on the flying pawn. We need to go in here and create some variables. This is going to be a float. Well, no, we need to make a... yeah. This might be better to do in the actual tech demo because we'll need to create the classes again. Well, no, we won't. It'll just be whatever it is. So this is gonna be a float. We're gonna call it cargo, and rather let's call it max cargo. It's basically gonna be the limit that we can have. So the we'll do a set when we do the construction script. So we got max cargo. Then we need to add another one called cargo. So max cargo is the maximum amount of cargo we can have, and cargo is the actual amount of cargo we have currently. I don't really care about identifying the the items in the cargo and whatnot. It's just going to be just values basically. We need to create some functions. So we're going to say get max cargo. Get cargo. And update cargo. Whoops. Okay, so let's start with get max cargo, which is not... Oh, it's up here. So we're going to have an input on the... Or no, no input's just an output. The output's going to be a float, and we're just going to call it max cargo. And let's make sure we do... Right. No! I want to update the name, damn you. Ah! So we gotta recreate it. It's annoying. Okay. So that's a float. And then what we're just gonna do is we're just gonna say get max cargo. Oh, we're calling... Nah, no, we don't do that. We want to call... get max cargo. That's what we want, this one. So we're just gonna return that. So that's the maximum amount of cargo we can have. Get cargo is going to be the same thing. Going to have an output. It's going to be a float. Let's call it cargo. And get cargo. Now update cargo. This one's going to be a bit more interesting. So we're going to have a couple of them here. We're going to say new cargo. So the amount of cargo we are adding, also in a float. And we're going to have a new string param called, it's not a string is this one, called op. Oh, we'll call it operation. And those should be Inputs, not outputs. Damn. That'll be a float. All right. So, now what we want to do is we want to do a case, I guess. Or is it a switch? A switch on string. So I want to add a pin. Case is 0. I think we can go up here and change the value. So on add, it's going to be one of them. Subtract, and then we're going to say set. So on add, we're going to say add. I'm going to say new cargo. Oh, why is that an array? It shouldn't be an array. Oh, we want math, not map. So it's going to be flip. Yeah, there we go. So adding that to get cargo again. So get cargo. So now we're going to say set cargo. So here's a question. I guess we put it on top. And then, so how can we check if it's a negative? If float is less than 0. Multiply. Multiply float. This isn't quite what we want to do either. So maybe we do this at the other end. So we do this part. Let's go ahead and break that link. So sub, we do another set cargo. Only this time, do the branch. So if true, so false, we just go there. Okay, so now I'm thinking about this in the wrong way. So if it becomes negative, that means it's going to be 0. Right. So if true, we just do a set cargo to 0. And then if it's set we just simply set it and then go. Kind of convoluted there, at least on the pinouts, but that's fine. So if we add, so we're basically doing all the operations and then only using the actual value results in specific circumstances. So if we add, we go to this one and we set cargo to the add there. For subtracting, we go down to here, we use the subtract, and then if it's less than 0, we do a branching condition. If it's true, we set cargo to 0 and return. Otherwise false, we just go to the return node and leave it as it's set. And then we just set it to whatever we're passing through and then go to the return node. That makes sense. A lot of this, it's a lot of stuff just to do something pretty simple you could do in like 9 or 10 lines of code, but it's the whole point of this is to abstract out the coding so you don't need to know coding to be able to do it. But this is something I would probably do in code and then expose it to the blueprint, the function to the blueprint. It's because this is really convoluted crap here, even if it makes sense. So get cargo, get next cargo, and update cargo. Now on the construction script, just going to call set max cargo, and we'll set it to 50,000. So I'm going to recompile this. Now we need to do some UI stuff. Let's go back over to here. It's content, create a new folder, call it UI. So I want to do a new UI widget. Call it UI BP. Alright, so we're going to have a couple things. First, we're going to have up here in the top right corner a series of text lines to show us our current cargo, and out of that, how much, basically the current cargo / max cargo, like you would normally see in some sort of thing. See somewhere, somehow, possibly on some games. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a panel. Panel. I'm going to lay it out vertically. So I'm going to do a vertical box, I guess. I'm just going to make it pretty simple here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add a... So we're going to do 3 text boxes for this. Or rather 3 text blocks, I guess. Okay, no, we don't want to do a vertical. Never mind. We want to do a horizontal panel. And then text block, text block, text block. So this first one, we're going to just take the content out. We're going to call this cargo T block. We'll just leave that there. We're going to just call this, just do that. And it should automatically adjust as we fill in the details for this. And then this is going to be max cargo. And again, we're going to clear out the text. Now, so these are public, that's good. So now what we want to do is we want to put some buttons down here. I'll put one button. For now, it's just going to be a square button, but we'll figure out how to do a circular button later. So there's the button. Button text. So we're going to call this we don't want it on the tooltip. We want to set the text for this. Or do I need to like put text inside of here maybe? Oh, okay, that's how we have to do it. So let's call this and for the color set it to that. Okay. Okay, so now that we have these, save it and compile it. So now, back over here, we need to go to the, I believe, whoops, to this. And we just set it up here, I believe. So really quick, I want to, I think, do I have it open? So OB sandbox, new UI test. Yes, I do. Okay, good. So we'll need to create a HUD reference. Yeah, here's what I'm looking for. So create UI widget, the widget class, set it to the HUD reference, then target on to add viewport. Okay, pretty simple. So first things first, we need to add a new variable. It's got to be UI BP. We'll call it HUD ref. Next, we need a create UI widget. Or create widget, I guess. And we'll need to pull the false pin off. So since we're not using a VR headset on the false, it'll render this to the screen. Next, we need to use set HUD ref. Turn value. And then add to viewport. That'll draw it there. Next, what we need to do is we need to go to the level blueprint. Or not. Maybe we want to do this in the player. So I don't think there's any way to actually do it there. Plus the HUD ref is in. Yeah, we need to do it from the player. The HUD ref is in here. So once we add it to the viewport. So maybe what we do first is before we add it to the viewport. Let's break that link real quick. We want to keep that link though. Maybe what we want to do is we want to set up the values. So HUD ref set no. So what I would like to do is figure out how we can set these values. Let's go back to the UI real quick. So we didn't do that here. I believe we did that over here somehow. Alright, so on overlapping begin, cast the player object, set overlapping object, then I guess that's for something else. Take AP damage, passing through the damage, do a set check on is overlapping, or rather we're setting is overlapping to true. Probably for one of these other conditions or something, functions. Get HUD, set it to the HUD ref, which we have here. Call arm flash damage, play animation. So, that goes with animations, arm flash damage, yeah. Oh, it's a parameter. So we bound it to a parameter. And that parameter is part of this, I think. Or not. So scalar parameters. Default value. Those are just meshes, not the blueprints. Where did I put those things at? Damn it. So the images we're using. Oh, here we go. So yeah, this is the exact same thing here. Let's see, somewhere, somehow, we're doing something to connect the parameters to these values. So all this, well, except for these, this is calling the take AP damage. And then doing stuff. So let's look at the third person blueprint again. So take HP damage. Okay, so we're just doing a set condition. So that's all we're doing with that. So where's the connective tissue between that and the... There's nothing in the level blueprint. And this doesn't have functions or anything like that. Get whole bar %0. UI widget. Okay, this is different. So this is doing the images. Setting the colors. And then this is setting the values. Okay, yeah, it's calling the NPC those things we're looking at before. So wait, there are functions here. And it's part of UI widget. So maybe there are functions. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm not seeing anything here. Oh, graph. Okay, that's why. There's a graph section. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, this is all here. So we have our variables. So shield bar, bar image, my character. And then we have these that are getting the... the values from the character. So I'm guessing that on construction or... Yeah, on construction, event construction, we are setting the third person character. Okay, And then on tick, we're updating the scalars. And those would be these. And I'm guessing these are just the meshes again. Material parameter collection. Just trying to see if we use them in here anywhere. I don't think so. Okay, I think I got an idea of how this is supposed to go. We'll probably have to refer back to this a couple times. Let's go to graph. Yeah, here we go. Alright, so laser button. So what are the, whoops, what are those, so I guess we just need to go and, so we go back over to the designer, we select our text boxes. Ah, okay. Well, it creates a function. Now, if we look at those over here, that comes from my character. So, we need to create a flying pawn class. Call it ship, I guess, in the event graph on construct. I believe it's cast to so cast to third person character BP. So cast to flying pawn class. And then we need to get the, so get, okay, no, get, so get, we're doing this a little bit backwards. Just get player character. Index 0, cast to that, and then set ship. Okay. So as we're creating the bars, dynamic material instances for the bars, we don't need to do that. So I think once we're done with that, we're done there. Next, So set scalar parameter value, parameter collection, parameter name, decimal, parameter value. So in this case, that's on tick. So in this case, we need to first create those parameters. So we'll create another folder. Folder params. So asset class contains lots of parameters, names, and default values. Any number of materials can reference these parameters to get new. So it's used by materials to get values for things. That's interesting. So return float. We're using to set that. And then we're using that to set the length, I guess. I think I know what those are doing now. We may not need that at all, that section, or at least not that kind of a thing. Let's go back to the materials real quick. So in here somewhere, there's a reference to those material parameters. I was trying to figure out where specifically. Oh, here it is. Yeah, decimal. So we're using that to set the completion of the arc. So we don't need those for this. Which is fine. What we do need is, we still need that, but we're going to so I guess if we're doing a bind here, whatever return's gonna show here, so that's actually done. Cargo, current cargo, whoops. Let's go back over here. So let's call so we want to do get ship. I want to call get cur or get cargo. To text float. Okay, so we're turning the float to a text. Rounding, grouping, always sign, minimum integral digits, maximum integral digits. 2. So half from 0 rounds the nearest place equidistant ties go to the value which is furthest from 0. Negative 0.5 becomes negative 1, 5 becomes 1. What if I don't want to have rounding? We'll leave it as that and see what happens. So on tick, we want to call get current cargo. So actually that is a bit different, isn't it? Percent. So it should act the same way then. It should actually... Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe it doesn't do it automatically. I may have to figure out a way to make that work. Well, we'll see if that actually does it automatically or not on tick. I don't think it will. But maybe it just being there will make it happen automatically because it's gonna bind or something. I don't know. What I'd rather do is, instead of having this be a function, I mean, I guess you can only do a function. Is there any way to reference it from over here? Empty text. And I don't think there's a way to do it because that requires like a variable, whereas this is not a variable. Alright, we'll see what happens. To me, when it says you're binding something, it means that whenever there's an update, it should rebind, but that may not necessarily be true. So what does it say? Flying pawn does not inherit from character. Cast always fail. So we got a problem with this over here. Okay, let's see. Any chatting going on? No. Alright. So what is this one? How do we get... Okay, so that we've already figured that part out. So UE4... what's it called? Flying pawn. Let's see. Flying pawn as character. Cast a flying pawn. So maybe we just have to do one of these. Don't want to have to do it, but... Oh wait, maybe we can just select that. I didn't like that. There's got to be a better way to do this, but... Trying to cast a flying pawn would always fail. Well, that's the old one, I think. Okay, now I compiled. So let's just see what happens if we try and so I'm not seeing any of the UI widget stuff up there. Oh, because we haven't done that yet. Yeah, let's go ahead and put that back up there. I don't think we're going to need to do what I was thinking on this. We compile that. Okay, there we go. 0 out of nothing. So we haven't added in this other bit yet. So cool, that is showing 0 though, which is nice. So then we need to do the same thing for max. Let's go do that real quick. Designer, there we go. Bind, create binding. And it's got to do the same thing. Get chip. There's more to that one. Ship, get cargo. Oh. The function calling out the other thing. That was the missing bit there. Hey, it still says 0. That's not right. So we need to go to flying pawn real quick. Where's the construction script? Oh, here. So we're supposed to be setting max cargo there. Set max cargo to 50,000. So maybe we need to do that over here instead. Thought it would work there, maybe not. Alright, give me a second here. I need to go check something out real quick. I'm gonna stop the stream for. Well, actually, what I'll do is I'll just turn off the display capture so I don't bore you. Just got an email from work. I need to go check it out. So I'll be right back. Alright, I gotta wait for someone to email me back. So, back to this while we're waiting for that. Okay, so, okay, we got that in there. Let's go ahead and compile. And no, it still doesn't have it. Okay. So, what do we need to do to pull that in? So, the problem probably is... So, let's take a look at how we have this set up real quick. So, it's on bind. So, no, yeah, the binding is not updating, is what's going on, I think. So... we can't call those functions directly, apparently, for whatever reason. Well, we are calling them, but they're not part of an execution. You can't draw off an execution pin to them. They have to be part of something else. So, how can we handle that? So I could probably put in get underscore, yeah, text block 0. So we can call the get, but the value, we have to have something to put the return value into. Maybe if we just create some variables, we'll say I'll need to switch this to a string. Let's call it var1 or something. Okay. Don't know if that'll work or not. No, it didn't. Okay, so UV4 update widget text. Function or a variable and update that variable to change the text. Right click on the little box, you write the text and say bind, just click that, set everything up. Then your on click event to set the new variable. Okay, we've done that. In the content tab, details found text and select correct binding. So create a function which you can use to pass in whatever text you like. You can create a text variable. hate the fact they have to use images and whatnot for this. Let's see. Button 69, seriously. Okay, so we have a function, get layer name, temp text, return value. And then we're updating this. Layer text. And it makes sense, but at the same time, I like something a bit more concrete. Make system object. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Start filling in the ship. I'm getting the max cargo, passing the value over to here, but we're still getting 0. So I guess the question is this returning 0? Is this not being set for some reason? So let's see. There was a way to like I used debugging once before, I just don't remember what it did. But like it allows you to step through the nodes and whatnot. It's actually pretty cool. The debug object. So I guess one way to do this would be to, let's go back over to our UI here. Let's just pull this off of here. I will just put a value here. And we'll just go to it directly. Okay, no, yeah, that's not working. Oh, that's current cargo, that's why. But still, it's value. Okay, cool, 30,000. So the max worked. We've got 30,000 there now. But the current didn't get set. Oh, okay, that's why. We need to, let's get rid of this. That's gonna drive me insane. Delete that. Because it's actually this one that we're using, not the other one. That's why there was no value. So this must still be, this must be coming back as 0 still. So let's go ahead and let's leave that way, and we'll go to our flying pond real quick, and on event tick. So once we do that, we're going to pull this off, and we're going to say set or add, or let's call update cargo. Operation add and new cargo 10. I'll say 10.5. So this isn't updating still. So perhaps we need to call. So let's go to update cargo. So before we do the return node, so again, we're doing a get current. We don't want to get a get, we want to do a set. So maybe what we need to do is, so we have this variable here, let's rename it to cargo. So on a tick, we'll do that. And then on get cargo, instead of doing this, oh, different. We got something different there. We got 0.0 now. Instead of just 0. So we're making a little bit of progress. So, flying pawn. So after we do all that, come over here, operation add, cargo 10.5. So that should be increasing because it's on tick. So that's not a problem. The problem is somehow we need to call this to force it to update. Just setting cargo is not working because we're just setting it. So whatever the initial value was when we first created the UI is what's being stored in that text box. That's why it's not being updated. There's got to be a way to force that to update somehow. So let's back to bind text. You get the function graph called blah, and there you connect a value to the text. Okay. That doesn't tell you how to update it though. I feel like I'm missing a step somewhere. Yeah, but that doesn't update the value, it just sets it. At least that's how I'm understanding how it works. Just based on the fact that it's not updating. Calling to update HUD. Cast first person, cast to HUD, update wave text function. Probably something really simple that I'm just not, it's not clicking for some reason. Widget text one update. Let's try this one. Okay, so get AM, PM, conditional branch. Hour is greater than 12. True set hour 1. Branch condition AM true. So this is the get AM function. Get game mode, return value. Select game mode. Time of day, return value. Cast failed, AM failed. That's the thing that I haven't been able to figure out how to set it to a variable instead of a function. It only seems to want to do a function. Oh. Well, that's max cargo. Whoops. Oh, maybe that is it though. Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to just create a variable for it. I think we have to compile it. Let's get rid of these. No. None. Oh yeah, we have to remove those bindings first. No, I want the... There, that one. Now do a compile. There we go, I think this will do it maybe. And then what we can do is on the graph, on tick, ship, get cargo, set cargo, then do another one, get max cargo. Technically we should only have to do this one once, but well, now we've got zeros and zeros. But it is displaying text, so that's something. Damn. So on tick, ship, get cargo. So we're going over to our flying pond and we're calling get cargo, which is just calling the cargo value. Now on this, after we do all this stuff on event tick, we're supposed to be updating. Alright, time for another blackout session. No, I got an email back, so let me go check that out, and then if it's something something I can figure out really quick, I'll do it, and if not, I'll stop the stream, and then I'll probably just stop the stream for tonight if it's something that'll take me a while to fix. So, just give me a little bit of time here, and we'll figure that out. Okay, we'll see what happens with that. So it's all hell broke loose at work a couple of weeks ago. We had a problem with our Microsoft Azure account, and as a result, it was down for like a week. As a result, somehow it broke the link between a Active Directory domain controller we have as an Azure VM and one that we have locally at our on our premises server. That's also a domain controller, and it's caused all kinds of hell. The initial problems were nobody could log into anything because the domain was down. Once Azure got back up, and I rebooted our local server, people were able to log in with their domain accounts again, and we didn't have to go through and do like a workaround to connect without using security through the Windows login through the domain. Then the other issue, though, was that we have a couple databases that we have everyone connected to through Microsoft Access, and again through the domain, and the domain being down really screwed that up, and it's been an ongoing issue. So the issue that the guy reported that I work with was related to the accessing, because yesterday, for some reason, everybody else that didn't go down before went down, and I spent literally most of the day just reconnecting people to access using an SQL login instead of a Windows login. Well, yesterday, that would be today. It's not yesterday yet. So yeah, he should be able to do that because he's a little more tech savvy than most of the people, and he's actually seen that process done before, so that should be fine. Now, what are we on? We're on the UI thing. Yeah. So what we want to do is go back to I want to go over here. Okay. Yeah. So this should be updated on tick every time. Again, the problem is why isn't it updating? And I just have to think there's got to be some way to like redraw the widget. Redraw UI widget. Let's see. Okay, so we're just... Yeah, so it's just... So, refresh inventory, custom event. Create inventory widget, add child, character... Yeah, so it seems like it's supposed to automatically update when the values are changed on those, if it's a bound function or a variable. It should automatically change, but it's not doing it. UI text not updating when bound variable. Wow. Appears to be a known issue. Well, I'm not destroying the widgets in this thing, so... So, content text, button text, default text. Which is what I was thinking. Interesting. Oh, they're actually added as a... So, event constructor, class get, cast to BP Ottoman, on clicked A1, set Ottoman, switch to red. Call a constructor. It's already existing widget, makes it visible. Problem is that everybody's setup is different, so it's not like it's really hard to find a solution that works for something that you're doing unless you're doing the exact same thing as somebody else. Oh, this is that same one from before. Create layer text widget. So again, this solution is creating new widgets, not updating the existing things. So this isn't quite what we want. It's text without blueprint. Oh, done with that. Huh. Thanks, I figure out the problem. Doesn't say how. I hate those kind of responses. It's like, tell us how you fixed it, damn it. So advantages defining versus functions. So I guess the question then is this really being updated? Maybe there's something wrong with my update cargo function. I mean, it seems really simple. Take the cargo, add it to what's in the new one, then call set. Let's make sure I called the right add. Yeah, capital add. So that should be fine. It's in the execution path, so that's not an issue. On tick of the player, a flying pawn, so that's fine. Damn. Let's see. So event tick, get cargo, set max cargo, set max cargo. So in the world of the support forums, this should just automatically update the text boxes because they're bound. In the world of reality, that's not frickin' happening. So we're converting the float to a string, sending cargo. Same thing here. And what we see on the output is 0, 0.0, 0, 0.0. So it's getting values. It is getting the values. So what if this reference to ship is not updated? Maybe that's it. Because on construction, we're calling that function, we're getting the actor class, and we're setting it, but we're not updating it. So maybe on update, or on this, we need to call first, maybe we have to do that. Let's create a new function called update ship. So get all actors of class, and the class is flying BP, or flying pawn, for each loop. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter which one we do. And then so we call update ship. Ah, haha. There it is. God damn it. All right, so now we're cooking with gas here. So now what's going to happen is this will keep going and going and going, and then eventually we'll hit 50k and it'll go over it. So what we have to do now is create a function that will stop at 50. So that would be on the flying pawn. Update cargo. So on add. So before we do the set, we need to do a comparison. So if equals get max, wrong one. Can I just change this? No, we can't. So if it equals cargo, we need to do a branch. Condition. So if true, actually it needs to be not equals, but float equal or greater than, so that we can handle that. So if true, do a set cargo to max cargo. False. Okay, and then we need to go back up to the construction, or the event, I guess. Let's make, well, we could, let's leave that, and we'll just increase this to 1,000. That way we can see this going faster. And there we go. So technically we're still using CPU cycles to set it. We'll have to figure out a better way to do it. But for now that works fine. Cool. Okay. So we got our UI widget working. Now we have to do is to only make it happen when we are firing the laser. So that's something else entirely. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and switch over to KSP. We're going to save all this. Still, we are making progress. Progress is what I like. So we've got it set up so that we can actually do set a target and a source for the emitter, particle emitter. we've got the UI correctly updating the values now. Still have this issue with the particles not emitting the correct way with that part of the emitter. And it's still kind of a little bit jinky in terms of when we're moving around, but definitely some progress. Alright, I'm actually going to close all this down so I can free up some frickin' RAM. Alright, so let me go ahead and get KSP started, and we will continue with that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream real quick and update the information as well. So I'll be back in probably about 5 or so minutes.